Yo, what's up, everybody? I feel like that intro just gets shorter and shorter every time we play
I
it.
know, right? I know it really does, man. What's up, Chris? How you doing today? It's our
I think,
Friday.
yeah, man. I think Trevor's knocking it down by like 10 seconds each time without letting us know, and that way it just like catches us off guard. It's like I think I'm ready to do everything, and then just boom, here we are.
Well, boom, here we are.
Here we are,
it's
bro.
our
Here we
it's our
are.
Friday. We do have a special guest joining us later on, but before then, oh my God, 420, man, 420 was something. Yeah, yesterday, right? I went to I'm wearing a thing right now, so like a small wrong side a small a fest 420 fest. I just heard about it last minute, decided to go. Oh, it was so wild. They had so many different bands from different like hip hop all the way down to metal. It was so weird. I have a new like respect for metal artists, the guys that scream all day.
Yeah, man.
Like I
Yeah,
was sitting close to the stage because I don't go to a lot of concerts because I kind of don't like people being strangers being so close to me. Like back up, man. But when I was up there, like I was a little too close to the stage because these guys, like my respect for them went above the roof. Because like how, like I'm trying to drink water to do this simple thing as talking here, right? They're doing this rah, rah, like the whole time for like 20 minutes yelling, like oh my god. I mean, it wasn't too bad. I mean, sonically, it wasn't bad. I kind of felt the rhythm about it, but still, just yelling that much for so long. Oh my god, I have a whole new respect for metal artists. Like through the roof. If you could, like, your vocal cords got to be the strongest. If you could do that for like a lot, like every day. Like some of them do it every day. Like that's wild.
yeah,
So
man.
yeah, that's
That's awesome. Fun fact: my wife was actually in a metal band in high school.
of course,
It
man. It's
wasn't.
another nugget.
She's actually a really good musician, but the band didn't really. I don't think they ever did any gigs or anything. But she can say she was in one. So
Yeah, it was. She wasn't the one screaming and like the
no, but she
lead.
can do a pig squeal, which is like kind of like an inhale scream. She can do that pretty good.
Mm.
But yeah,
Oh man, yeah, it was another level, and the guitars was loud as shit too. They were yelling and playing at the same time. Like, what is wrong with these people, man?
that's
That's
funny, man.
extreme. That's talent right there. Like, that's a lot of talent to be able to hold that for a long, sustained period of time. But
Yeah, it was
wow,
fun
yeah, that
though.
was my first ever metal anything, really.
Did it stay late? Like you get home at like 2 a.m.
No, no, it was I left earlier than it should be. It was supposed to go up to 12. I mean, again, it's not really a real holiday, People got work in the
Yeah,
morning type of thing. So, yeah, it was from 6 to 12, I believe. But I left around like 11 or 10:30ish.
okay,
So, yeah, it was
that's
very
cool,
good.
man. That's cool. It sounds
Like
like a good day.
oh, it was a great day, man. There was more to it. Be earlier in the day, like because our East Coast, it's not really legal like that yet. I mean, it's legal now, but the sales hasn't really opened yet. So you still got to go to dealers, and my specific dealer kind of gave me some inflation prices last minute, man.
Oh
I wasn't
man,
too happy about that, man.
yeah,
Like
he
last minute,
gave
I
you a
ran low. Yeah,
the
yeah.
opposite of a sell. He knew he would be selling a lot.
Yeah, yeah, like last minute, like I'm a loyal customer. Like I talk to you every other week type of thing. Like and he just last minute, oh yeah, this is gonna be like it was like 25% increase, like no warning. I was kind of mad about that because he tried to claim it's a different strain, but I know my strains. He was capping. But
Dang, bro.
at the party I got free and I found a new plug. So it worked out perfect. Perfect. At that 420 Fest, I did meet a new plug, local too, cheaper too. So I could just feed that other guy, man. So hey, it was an all around good day for
That's
me.
awesome, dude.
It was a good day for me, man. I really enjoyed it, and I got this cool shirt.
Yeah, I like that
All
shirt
is
a
well,
lot.
man. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. So how was it? How did you spend your day? Was it just a normal day for you, or you actually celebrated?
Yeah, it was a pretty normal day for me. I went to a party with some friends, and it wasn't anything too crazy. It was chill, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, really just hung out outside and got some much needed time with friends. So
Mm.
I had a good day.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, man.
I'm sure you didn't buy any new rugs, right? You didn't buy
No,
no
I don't think I bought
scams, no
any new
phishing
rugs. I was
sites,
trying to
nothing.
I was trying to sell some yesterday, but I didn't buy any.
he's, trying, he's trying to sell some rugs
Yeah, man. I was trying to offload this Me 6.
from your hidden folder.
No, man. Me 6 is loud and proud right on my profile, but I'm trying to get
Loud
rid of
and
it.
proud.
Yeah, whoever
Well,
wants it, and just go offer me some 0.3 or up, and I'll accept it.
nobody's gonna do that.
Nah, no, no. You can
Nobody's
go
gonna
buy
do that.
one at floor for like mid price. But yeah,
Uh,
man, I almost got into a project last night that I talked about on the space earlier. I keep on forgetting the name, like War Kittens. We actually have a
mm,
special
mm.
guest today that probably knows a little bit about that because he is an active trader. So we can go ahead and bring him up
Very
and
active.
introduce him. So without further ado, let's bring up Poopaloop from Metaverse HQ.
Poopaloop.
Yeah, what's
Scoopaloop,
going
everybody.
on? What's going on?
Ladies and
Yeah.
gentlemen, Poopaloop is in the
I know.
house.
It's funny. You got to get used to it. It just kind of starts rolling off the tongue after a while, you know.
Love
Yeah,
it,
I was gonna
man.
do. We was gonna do yesterday. We was thinking about giving you a soundboard, but a poop soundboard
I
probably
know.
wouldn't work for this show at this time.
Trust me, I get it. I've gone through a little bit of an identity crisis throughout the past year or so with the handle and everything. It's just an old high school nickname that stuck. You know, it stuck with me through college, and you know, I
Ah,
still have friends that call me to this day. So it's just something I decided to roll with, and so here we are.
the
I
plot
love it, man.
thickens, man. The plot thickens.
Yes,
They called you
indeed.
that in high school.
Yeah, you know, I had an old football coach that just couldn't pronounce the last name right, so it just turned into you know, a
Oh,
variation
okay.
of poop, and yeah, it wasn't anything nasty or anything like that. It was
Oh,
just
okay.
mispronunciation that kind of spiraled. So yeah, there you
Uh,
go.
uh,
There's the story.
okay. Yeah, I thought it was more of a you shitted on yourself or something like
Yeah,
that, and
that's why I
then
got to
it's
explain
called
it
you.
because it was nothing nasty like that.
Okay, so you already know where it was going. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, no problem, no problem at all. I get it all the time.
All right. So I didn't hear an air horn for you. I had to do that.
There we
Welcome to
go.
the
Hype,
show,
hype,
man.
hype. Love it.
I'm
Thank
glad
you.
I finally get to see what you look like. Your docs now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see you on Ninjalerts a lot. You buy a lot of stuff, man. We're gonna get into your trading strategies, but before we get to that, how did you get into the NFT space? Is it NBA Top Shot or a
Yeah,
different route?
yeah. I followed the Top Shot route. I was in a separate kind of daily fantasy community with some friends. One of you know, MVHQ's OGs, Relic CK, actually got me my invite into MVHQ. And from there, we were just talking. At that time, it was Top Shot Investors Club. It was just kind of an invite only Discord server of friends. It wasn't token gated or anything like that. And started off with Top Shot and got my ass wrecked and moved everything over into NFTs, you know. So that's kind of how it came about, to be honest, you know.
That's a pretty common story, except for Isis. Isis was saying that he is actually he was still I guess owns Top Shot, or like he still like trades. I don't know if he's active with it, but yeah, for most
No,
of
Yeah,
the guys,
Isis
it was
went
absolutely.
like
through Time, I believe. Like
Well,
Isis was more bullish on Time magazine, if I
yeah, I
can remember
think
correctly.
everyone's kind of had their different experiences with it. A lot of people have kind of stuck with Top Shot and the ecosystem. Um, I was not one of those, you know. I just, you know, saw opportunity elsewhere, and at that time didn't have the patience and wanted to make a play, and was a little disgruntled with just kind of the ecosystem at that time. And that's fine, right? Everyone kind of has their likes and their strategies, as we know, but that's just kind of how I decided to play it. And you know, in hindsight, it worked out, you know. So you know, no qualms about that. But
It
you
worked
know,
out very well for you.
yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on in Top Shot. Don't get me wrong. It's just I didn't have the patience at the time, and haven't really taken the time to re-enter at scale.
completely understand that,
Yeah.
man. So
Spe-
what you got,
okay.
good? You can go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, speaking of Top Shot, you heard about the NBA association drop that just
Yeah.
happened. What, like 2 days ago or so?
Yeah, I think it was yesterday officially. It
Oh,
launched,
yesterday.
and it was, I think, from what I understand, pretty exploited on the contract. You know, with
Was
people.
it?
Well, I think people found ways to kind of loop the mints, which is kind of something that's happened with some less than stellar contracts, more recently. That's just part of the world we live in, right? I mean, we live in a world where everyone's super sharp. Um, Majority of them have a tech background or are very sharp, fast learners, right? And they hunt for this stuff because that's their edge. And so I know it can be a little divisive in conversation, whether it's
Hmm.
okay to do so or not. I am all in favor of at least as ethically as possible, finding whatever edge you have, and that happens to be one for many people. And I think my opinion and the opinion of many others is that it's on the devs to tighten that ship up on the contract side, so this doesn't keep happening. So from that standpoint, to each their own. Don't hate the play, hate the game.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of just my loose stance on it, personally.
Did you get
Um,
into the association?
I did not, to be honest. As we'll kind of talk through here, um, I have not been a huge volume minter lately. My focus has really been on MVHQ and kind of helping to, build that community and keep layering on top of the foundation we've built on with some new stuff. And as I've grown older, my ability to multitask, I found, and focus on things has kind of waned at times. So I try to stay focused, and sometimes that means cutting out degen mints and things of that nature. And so, the association specifically, I did not get into, but followed along in chat and rooted for everyone that was winning along.
I saw
Mm.
I don't know if I consider this a DJ play. I don't know if you could fill us in now that it's over. But last night I saw quite a few of the Metaverse HQ guys go in on War Kitties. I think it was called War Kitties. I don't see it right now. But I didn't see you mess with it. Were you like almost involved with that, or did you see that play happening?
I saw it happening live. Obviously, that was a partner of ours. We hosted them for our Twitter Spaces. They were gracious enough to grant our community a good amount of allow list spots. Again, that was just another case where I was wrapped up in something else, and that meant when you do go in at volume on some of these mints, right? I mean, getting your entry is one thing, right? But you also have to plan the time to list and to follow along with the volume. So if you want to get in, you got to have a plan to get out as well, whether that's short, medium, long term. So if I can't have that, at least if I don't feel comfortable about that 3-step process, I'm okay passing. I'm different, I think, a little bit than a lot of heavy volume traders in the space. That's not to say that I don't at times, but I'm a little more selective with it these days, just because of time. To be honest, and I think that's just something I'm comfortable with. Not everyone's comfortable with that. People take it pretty hard sometimes if they miss a mint, especially if it's profitable.
Mhm.
I've kind of, just through time in the space, have kind of hardened the gut and the mind a little bit to just be okay with that. And obviously that's dependent on people's bankrolls and really kind of what they want to get out of it. As um, a member of MVHQ and a community builder and leader, that's been more so my priority these days. And I find time to get my action in just in different ways. It's been a little more calculated, a little bit more secondary, a little bit more more established project type plays, a little more speculative, to be honest. Which is kind of how I've always gone about it, but even more so recently.
So what's like a recent example of one of those?
Um, well, I was lucky enough to hit a pretty big Azuki sale, and kind of got in on that project early, and with some of those profits, um, didn't roll it all the way back into NFTs, right? I tried to diversify and take some out for myself and then play it safe that way. But when the dust settled, I tried to make it a point to kind of roll some stuff into some mutants, and this was before the ApeCoin token sale. Just kind of right,
Mm.
just kind of putting the pieces together. Hey, you guys already kind of announced that a token will be coming, and there are these events planned towards the end of March, and into April, and so just kind of took a shot on a couple mutants, some Clone X's, and another Azuki or two, just to kind of firm up that kind of more established blue chip type project in my portfolio, but also with the incentive of having a decent feeling, should the market hold its strength, that they would also be pretty good opportunities for those projects to run up, and for the most part they have.
When did you get into the apes? Because I noticed you're an ape holder, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right, there's the old adage, it's better to be lucky than good sometimes, right? So with apes, again, this was kind of going back to back when NVHQ first started. It was one of my first purchases, to be secondary purchases. I didn't mint. I got in, I bought 2 apes at around 1 ETH average, and flipped one for, I think, like 3.5 ETH, which is an eyes for. But, as it goes, right? Liquidity is king, and I'd be lying if I said that 3.5 ETH at that time provided me a nice little cushion in my portfolio at the time to kind of continue on making plays here and there, and obviously at that time it was a very different market, but at one point in time made the decision just to kind of hang on to my last ape. Again, I only bought into 2, used one to flip, kind of pay off the other one, and a little bit of a luck along the way that it's become the established project and brand that it is now, right? I think anyone would be lying that a year later they'd see this type of traction,
Yeah.
not even in the NFT marketplace, but right in in the world. So I mean, they're really Jimmy Fallon's of the world, and just celebrities and entertainers, right? It's becoming a real statement, a real status symbol, if you want to call it that, and the floor prices have run up as such, and so I think that's a little bit of luck involved, and that's part of the game we play. It's speculating on stuff and weighing the teams and the projects, and your confidence in them, and the value that they're giving back to their holders, and the strength of the community, and when all those things do align, sometimes it doesn't work out, right? Most of the time it doesn't work out. Sometimes it works out really well, and that's kind of what we're swinging for.
So, I'm sure you've known the rumors about other side land coming out soon. Like, is there anything as an insider in the ecosystem? Is there anything that you know that we might not? Because the mutants price has been shooting up, and there's rumors of some insider info circulating in the ecosystem. Can you confirm anything at this time, or what?
I got to be honest. I don't consider myself an insider. I don't have that type of plug, really, um, with the apes specifically, but really any project, to be honest. I don't necessarily hunt for that type of tip off, but I do read. I read conversations in communities. I read conversations on Twitter, right, and try to digest information that way. Of course, talking to people that you trust, and things of that nature. Do I have an inside plug on what's going to happen here outside of what's being speculated on or what's been talked about? No. I think there's a lot of angles that they can take, all of which I'm sure you guys have heard, whether it's going to be sold all in ape, or if there's going to be an ETH element to this where we can purchase land, and how the allocations are going to come about. Some people are pretty convicted in their opinions that it's either going to be all ape or all ETH, or a mix of both, and again, how the allocations are going to play out. But to say I have an inside beat on any of that, I'd be lying to you. So I don't. I'm anxiously awaiting, not just kind of the details of it, and kind of what's going to happen when it does actually announce and drop, but how the market's going to react after the fact. Obviously we saw, it's a pretty common narrative, but when the mutants dropped last time, the market, it was a true liquidity suck in the market, and it pulled back quite a bit. I think that is something to be conscious of going into this. I mean, with the amount of lands that they're talking about, whether it's
200,000,
whether it's 100 or 200, even if that's tiered out, right? I mean, people are much like moonbirds. We've seen people are saving their liquidity for these events, and that's kind of the shift in the market. We're kind of in a weird place in the market right now, where some people will call it a bear. I don't. I don't get caught up in the bear bull conversation. Just day by day, just take what's coming, right? Get up, read the headlines, have a pulse of it. But if you start pigeonholing things, and you create some biases along the way, and sometimes you miss opportunities as well. So, but some people will call it somewhat of a bear market. I don't know. I wouldn't call it that. Volume's been good. It's been a little hit and miss depending on what's going on, right? The different catalysts or different projects. But for all intents and purposes, We're seeing money flow back in, and I think it's just a matter of people waiting for. They're also being more selective. The market is maturing. It is a mature market, and I think a lot of the new money we saw flow in January. Well, now they've had 3-4 months to learn, right? And kind of, and
Yeah.
there's all these new tools, and everything's there for the taking. And I feel like while alpha is still a very important component to everything, right? I mean, that's the daily driver and what everyone hangs their hat on. It's not necessarily what needs to be leaned on the most. You know, I mean, if you want to have conviction in a project, yeah, absolutely. Like you got to have all the fundamentals to it, and everything's got to line up. But shoot, I mean, sometimes it's as simple as just watching the volume on a project, and again, getting a little lucky with it. You know, and it's become as easy as that for many traders, and rightfully so, because that's what's available to us.
Yeah, shout out to Ninjalerts because I'm able to kind of do that on the sideline, see some good traders that I respect, and then that's kind of my first step, and then I check out the volume on it, whether it's a DGen play or whether it's a good play, and that kind of helps me determine, whether to jump in or not. I did have a question. So, scrolling back to earlier, you're talking about your exits being planned, whether you want to do short, medium, or long.
Mm-hmm.
Do you calculate all your plays like that? I saw you just sold, for instance, I saw you just sold a Cool Man's Universe, which
Mm-hmm.
Gutter is actually a holder of.
Oh, you sold that?
Has this been your plan? Since you
Well,
No, I
bought
don't.
or
I don't
minted?
sell Shane. By the way, I'm just joking.
no, I know. No, I get it. And I have an explanation, Gutter. But
Okay,
no,
okay. Let me know.
it's look, you try to be as calculated and planned as possible. Now, to say I stick to it and to a T, no. I mean, things are very fluid. Right. I think it's imperative to have an idea, and an expectation, and even a price in mind of where you are comfortable letting go of things, and not even a profit price, but a sell price as well, right? I mean, you want to recoup some losses along the way, which thanks to Top Shot, for as much as it kind of effed me in the end. I learned a lot from that experience, and cutting bags was one of those learning experiences. And to not, I don't want to watch my bags go minus 80% ever again.
Mm.
That is just something that hardens your gut real bad, and you learn that in many different ways. So again, having a sell price, if there is one, and kind of classifying short, medium, long term, type plays, as much as you can. Obviously, there's the degen in us that just kind of hop into things and roll with it and see what happens. But for some of these more thought out type of plays, yeah, I think that again the entry is just as important as the exit. I think that is a tough skill to learn, especially when right everyone's here to kind of make money at the end of the day, and so when you see that candle go red, it's hard to let go of. It's hard to check your ego at the door and cut that bag. But in the end, you start to learn that liquidity back in your pocket to be ready for the next opportunity. I mean, that's the bread and butter right there. So whether it's profit or loss, as long as you have something coming back in and it's not completely wrecking you, well, now you're kind of cooking a little bit. But again, that is a fundamental approach. I think that is hard, and I think a lot of people still struggle. I still struggle with it at times, right? And again, you can have a plan, but things change quickly,
So you
as we
get punched
see.
in the face.
Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Yeah,
At
absolutely.
what point was it for you that you just felt like it's not even worth it to hope that the candles turn green again? Like you're talking about 80% on Top Shot. Like I know some people probably still had hope in them of like, oh well, maybe we'll bounce back.
Chris.
What was the point for you that was just like I can't, like I'm not sure.
For Top Shot specifically, it was seeing the opportunity in NFT, right? I mean, at that point in time, I mean, we toss around 1 ETH floors like it's candy now. 1 ETH floors for it's like the Oprah meme. 1 ETH floor for you. 1 ETH floor for you. Right? I mean, that is the new baseline. Back then, it was like
Yeah.
point one. Back then, it was like 0.1. Right? I mean, those types of momentum moves just were kind of unheard of. To be honest, to see those kind of, you only saw it with apes at the time, and that's kind of what triggered my buy at around that 1 ETH mark. Is that was one of the first times I truly felt that kind of savage momentum, and you just had to get in because it felt different, right? And it's kind of hard to explain that type of stuff comes with experience, as cliche as that might be. But really, it's just kind of you harden your gut a little bit, and the more you've seen some of these projects play out, more recently with Azuki and Moonbirds, I think everyone can kind of now say, who's been in the space during this time, you feel that energy, you feel that momentum, and you feel the sentiment on social media, and when those things kind of align, in addition to the art and community and all that stuff, well, then it's kind of time to pull the trigger. But again, everyone's got their own risk tolerance. But yeah, that was kind of my signal. That was kind of my signal, where there is better opportunity elsewhere right now for the action that I want.
Mm. And so, what are the odds, in your opinion and your speculation? What are the odds that Ape Land drops in 24 hours?
I'd say I don't want. I'd say pretty decent. I mean,
Right?
it's speculation. I mean, there just is enough conversation, and the narrative is aligning with kind of the 1 year anniversary and things of
Yeah,
that
yeah.
nature. So it would make sense. But I'd hate to put that out there, and I would say that I'm just being patiently observant, and I think again, I think many times in this space, it's really important just to kind of let things come to you a little bit. Stay prepared, um, but let it come to you a little bit. Stay patient with the information, and just be ready to fire when it's ready to fire. Whatever comfort zone you live in, just stay ready. I think it's very easy to get down on yourself when you miss opportunities. Because for whatever reason, right, whether you're busy or you don't have enough liquidity or things of that nature. But one thing to quickly learn is the next opportunity is right around the corner. I mean, that's one thing we preach in VHQ. Our old
Eyes forward.
our VC founder JJ is who you guys I'm sure are familiar with, is always
Yeah, we
preaching
love
eyes forward.
JJ.
Copyright, trademark that slogan for that guy right there. But
We've had him on the show.
it
He's great.
is something to live by. It is very much a foundational rule and principle everyone should strive to make a part of their trading process, because it's going to happen. Not everything's going to be 100%. Not
I love
everything's
it,
going
man.
to be not everything's even going to be 50%, right? But yeah.
I tweeted yesterday. I said I've been rugged by stocks, crypto, and NFTs, and it's so true.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, "How do you get rugged by stocks?" I legitimately my friend pitched me a penny stock company. I was like, "Whatever, I'll throw some money at it." And then like a month later, they went out of business. Couldn't even sell the
Yeah.
stock. So like I'm talking like rugged, but
Totally.
it hurts. It's hard to come back from. But hearing really good traders just be like eyes forward, be okay with taking losses. You need liquidity. Like it's encouraging to hear.
I'm still interested in what are you prepared for? Like, how do you plan to play the ape land when it launches? Like, are you gonna? Do you think there's more value in the land than holding a PFP short term, or vice versa? Because we spoke to Griff, and he seems to think it would be a good play would be to sell an ape, stack up on I guess ape land, and then flip back into an ape. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love that. I love hearing that strategy. Um, I mean, that's what makes all of us so unique. We kind of have our own different perspectives, and again, a lot of it has to do with just comfortability and risk tolerance and staying within yourself. For me personally, my play on it is going to be, I've been DCAing a little bit into Ape over the past couple weeks, that I have ready to deploy just in case.
Ready to deploy?
Yeah.
I like that word.
It's not a huge bag, but it's enough that I'm comfortable with. It's enough that I feel like
Yes.
I feel good about, should it come to that. Um, have some ETH ready as well, obviously. But obviously, being lucky enough to be an ape holder, I still have 2 mutants. There's also some rumors about some other projects being allow listed into the ecosystem, whether it be Cool Cats, or Toads, or World of Women, things of that nature. Purely speculative, of course, but should it come to that, I feel kind of good about my potential position within what I'm ready to move forward with. So that's kind of my play. I do try to keep things simple, and that goes back to a lot of what I was talking about, just in terms of my focus these days. I don't try to get too complex. Obviously, everyone's kind of got their strategies and interests and passions in the industry. Um, I try to keep things simple, just because the more lines that get crossed and more layers to things that I have to keep on top of day to day, I just know I'm not going to have the time to stay on top of stuff. So the more complex of a trading strategy it gets, it's just something that at least right now is not in my wheelhouse.
So you're just stacking ETH and stacking ape and seeing what happens.
Pretty much, man. Yeah, staying prepared. I'll be waiting for the news. I mean, this will be one event that I'm prepared to drop what I'm doing, and because I could
Of
see it. I
course.
could. Oh, right. There's probably will be a momentum flip opportunity here. Absolutely. But I think belief in the ecosystem and kind of seeing how this is play out. I could see it turning into more of a longer term play that people are comfortable in, and so from that standpoint, it might not be as high maintenance of a volume mint type situation. And again, if you're looking to get in and flip, I get that. But for me personally, I want to be part of
It's
this
long term.
ecosystem. I kind of want to see what happens, and I'm sure again, I'll let the market speak to me, and if there's an opportunity to get out that I'm comfortable with, but I'm never shy about holding one or two runners just to see what happens. So that's kind of where my head's at with it, but staying prepared, but
So
staying within myself.
so apes is your long term, like long term play, more than 1 year. Is what I mean by long.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, shoot, we're coming up on a year, So,
Right.
but I mean, it's easy to say that, right? I mean, obviously with Yuga and right the floor price and kind of just the overall sentiment of apes as a project as a whole. I'm not gonna lie, right? I mean, the thought of selling, especially as these floor prices creep up, it's hard to ignore.
Right. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and obviously there's uncertainty in the market, uncertainty in the world,
Hmm.
both good and bad, right? I mean, they can work both ways. That again, that is the game we play. Um, but when you talk about financial security type stuff and just things along those lines that we all kind of at the end of the day strive for, it's hard to look at that stuff and not at least consider whether it's an ape or the liquidation of your entire portfolio at times. It's fighting those demons, and you can still have belief in the space, right? And it is impossible to time things, right? Um, I shouldn't say impossible, but very difficult to time tops and bottoms and things of that nature, especially when you're talking about the broader general market as a whole. Um, but those are kind of the battles we play day to day. And again, I'd be lying, if I'm convicted in saying, yeah, next 3, 5, 10 years, like I'm going to hang on to this ape forever. But if there's an opportunity, um, I wouldn't be shy about it. Is it listed right now? No, but again, it's hard to ignore. That's for sure, and that's with apes or any other project that you're convicted in.
Mm. Moving on to MVHQ. How long have you been into MVHQ? Did you mint MVHQ or are you more recent into the
So,
community?
I was again. So it started off as an invite only server called Top Shot Investors Club. Um, and it was invite only. There was about 200 of us. I think I came in about maybe 3 weeks to a month after it had been founded. Was invited by a good friend of mine, Relic CK, and it was just kind of us rapping about Top Shot. Now, through the evolution of that community, our founder and community leader Jake and Bake decided himself um, to tokenize the community and make the transition to the broader NFT market. So, to answer your question, I got in, I believe, in February of 2021 into Top Shot Investors Club and have been there through the transition to MVHQ, um, and um, and seen it throughout that process. I started off just as a member. Really enjoyed the community building process and interacting with the members. Applied to be a mod, became a mod, just kind of gained responsibilities. Was reaching out to Jake and just seeing how I could help more and more. Eventually, that evolved into kind of an admin role, and now that's kind of evolving into more and trying to help him out with some of the content type stuff as well. So, it's been a great opportunity for me to kind of spread my wings a little bit. It is all new for me and my background. Um, but to answer your question, yeah, that's kind of how it all started.
Oh, nice. So of course we're gonna try to prize some alpha out of you out of MVHQ because of course Chris and I we're sadly standing from the outside looking in. Tell me, what's do you guys have any interviews lined up coming up or any new collaboration you could speak on at this time?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, shoot, our marketing partnership team just absolutely crushes it. They work so hard. They've worked hard, not even just making relationships in the space, which is so important, but um, their efficient process too behind the scenes that I think not many people get a visual into. But I mean, they are rocking and rolling with the help of community members as well, who are helping out, reaching out to projects and things of that nature to help bring value back to community in the form of allow lists and relationships with other projects. Now, pull up the schedule here. So yeah, we try to touch on a variety of projects, whether it's PDE gaming, PFP projects, everything in between, tools. They've done a good job of kind of establishing relationships with all of them. Recently, um, um, we've had projects like Hikari, Tripsters, PXN, which is a super hype drop coming up.
PXN.
PXN, Phantom PXN. Let's see here. Who else we
Let me
got?
look that up.
Yeah, PXN. It's super. I think they have like over 250 followers on their Twitter, 350K now, which isn't the greatest. Well, I shouldn't say greatest, but isn't the only indicator, right? But
350K? That's a lot.
but it's not the only indicator we use, obviously. But at a glance here, obviously, they're obviously getting some type of momentum, and they've got some pretty unique things that seem to be in their game plan here. They've been a little candid about exactly how they're going to go about their project, but it seems like they're developing all the right relationships, they're building the right community, and it seems like that team is led by some very notable and established people in the space. So that's one. More recently, coming up, I think later today, we have Shlove Pals.
Schlove Pals.
Is SHLUV space PALS.
Schloverse.
Yeah, there you go, Shlove Pals. Smaller following, but created by Just Mako, who has a huge social media presence on TikTok and things of that nature. So, right, that's something to pay attention to. It's not necessarily the followers and those metrics of the Twitter account. It's who's involved with it, right, and what type of connections, what type of audience can they bring in as well. So, I'm excited to have that conversation. Excited to have that conversation with them today. I won't be the one hosting it. We have a variety of wonderful hosts that do a great job kind of carrying on the conversation and getting the alpha out of these projects the best that they can. So,
Did you say that he's launching it today, or that you're meeting with him today?
no, that we are holding a Twitter Spaces with them later.
What time is that?
So that is going today at 7:30 Eastern. 7:30 Eastern tonight on Twitter. So
I might try to
shameless plug there. By. Yeah, sure. Yeah,
no, not shameless, man.
Yeah. To be honest, just the way to market and the mediums with which we have to market things this day and age in this space, it's kind of mind blowing, right? I mean, it's Twitter, it's project followings, it's leaning on the Twitter algorithm to pick things up and show you and show others, what's being talked about. So it's been an adjustment for sure. For me personally, I'm not speaking for MVHQ, and its entirety, but for me personally, right? I'm a little more old school. Have held, kind of brick and mortar corporate jobs, before and stuff like that. So, taking that and blending it into this kind of fast paced Web3 world, right? It's a different beast, for better and for worse, So, but adjustments needed always. And so that's kind of how we've gone about it. But that all being said, yeah, Shlove Pals will be a Twitter space. We do hold some more exclusive stuff inside the server, mostly game demo type stuff for smaller game projects to come in and kind of demo, their games cool. for our community, so they can get a little taste of it and ask questions and things of that nature. So there's kind of a well-rounded approach we try to hang our hat on.
I had my mic muted earlier, but yeah, 51 million followers on TikTok and 2.6 million followers on YouTube, or subscribers on YouTube. For
insane,
with,
right?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a big audience.
Yeah, it is
huge, and that's it. And those are things to pay attention to. And now
you follow them?
Oh, amazing.
This guy, man, you're a
Hey, man,
groupie.
you
Chris is
gotta,
a
you
groupie, man. He
gotta.
followed
Hey,
them real quick.
hey, but you know what?
I might,
Sometimes,
I, I might or might not snag one of these.
sometimes that's just right. You just got to get that information. I do try to get in the habit of looking through my recent follows, and I will unfollow every now and then just to kind of keep things clean. Just because there are
Yeah,
projects just
yeah,
throughout they just kind of they mint and they don't carry on and things of that nature. And the flow of information needs to be efficient. To be
Right.
honest, so. It's more of an efficiency thing than it is like a slight at anything or anyone, right? It's
no,
just
it's
yeah.
the meta. Like a lot of
Mhm.
this meta, if you go through the pre-mint XYZ, you're gonna have to follow all these different projects that, they're probably not gonna go anywhere. And realistically speaking, but yeah, that's why you got to do a cleanup. But I was
Yeah.
just joking about Chris following. It's a pretty cool project. I like it. Like I'm gonna look more into it. I've never heard about it till now, and I'm glad you're here to put us on to something like this. Nice.
Yeah, I mean that's again the ease of access to a lot of this information is right there for the taking. I mean, I know listening to spaces and things of that nature can be time consuming. One thing I've
Mhm.
learned, I don't listen to music anymore. I don't listen to podcasts really. Time is spent on in the community, watching Twitter and things of that nature. This is a great supplement for that because you can keep it on in the background like a podcast or things of that nature and get some real alpha, and some of it's better than others. Sometimes, obviously, it depends on the project and who they bring up on stage to give that information, but it kind of force feeds you project information and you get a good gauge of the team and kind of how they're feeling about their own project and how in tune they are with their community and can they answer the questions, can they answer the hard questions, or are they dodging them, are they scripted, or are they good answering on the fly off the top, are they personable, are they relatable, all those things come into play, and really you can only get that from these types of experiences, and they're all important things to add up.
I agree. I'm looking forward to it. One Twitter space can really teach you a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, trying to keep up with all the Twitter spaces and all the different
That's a
communities. My
lot.
my wife always gives
Impossible.
me a hard time because I got 2 kids and I'm married, so like trying to like do my regular job and my Web3 jobs and listen to all those spaces. It's a lot, dude. Like it,
Yeah,
it adds up.
it's
But
it's near impossible.
I am gonna try to listen in tonight because this is really interesting.
Awesome. Glad to
So,
hear it.
So that's
so as a trader, like, what's a typical day for Poop like? Like when you wake up, you have monitors, you go on your screen and like you pull up tools. Like, what does that
Yeah,
look like for you?
yeah, all of the above. So I have a 4 monitor setup, um, kind of 2 stacked over here on the right, one right in front of me, one to the left. Um, to the left, I kind of keep up. My daily routine is pulling up Block Native for gas, Moby, Icy, Nerds, and kind of just getting all that flowing
Ninja
on
alerts.
and Ninja alerts, of course, 100%. My wallet watcher, honestly though, my wallet watcher's on all the time, and more importantly, the mobile alerts are just chef's kiss. They really help out so much. But seeing all the movement and top mints and things like that helps tremendously. To be honest, all three, all of those tools, they provide their own value use cases individually. They really do, and some of them pick things up quicker than others. I find value in having all everything up as possible that fits on your screen, just because you never know when information is going to come. But yeah, absolutely, Ninja Alerts is a big part of that process as well. Um, and from there, I kind of get a gauge of the community. We'll read through chat, and to be honest, spend a good part of the morning catching up on DMs from overnight because they do stack up. I try to be as timely as possible with them, as some people know. Sometimes that's easier said than done, but just try to prioritize the workflow for MVHQ specifically. And once I'm clear of those responsibilities, sometimes that's later in the day than others. Well, then I'll kind of sink my teeth into kind of what's going on, mint wise or degen wise or other research that I want to do for my own personal self, right? But there are days where things just kind of stack on top of each other and you just don't get that time. And again, that's something I'm okay with. Um, but um, in a nutshell, that's kind of my daily routine. I'll get my hub up every day just to make sure I'm keeping a pulse on everything, but making sure that my responsibilities and priorities are in check as well.
Nice. So, what before MVHQ collabs with a project, what criterias do they look into? Also, this goes to you as well. Before you ape in or buy into any project, what are the criterias do you look into? Do you look in? Of course, you look into the team. Do you also look into like the community? Do you also look at the picture, the art? I guess like what boxes do they have to check for you guys?
Yeah, that's a great question. All of the above, to be honest. I would say more recently, and again, this really leans on our marketing and partnerships team. Mitch, Jacob, Meg, more recently Seinfeld, um, um, and their process of vetting these projects for partnerships. Some communities and projects will kind of have a shotgun approach where they develop a relationship, but as long as allow list spots are there for the taking, they put it out for the community to decide, whether they want to be a part of that allow list or not. We have a little bit more of a um, you know thoroughly vetted process where our marketing team, um, for the most part, meets with every single one of these projects that we call a partner. They have a sit down meeting, half hour, whatever it needs, and they ask questions, and then they talk to the team and get a feel for their comfortability, to determine their conviction in the project to bring that to our community. Now, does it always work out? Is it a science? No. If it was a science, none of us would be, speculating on any of this stuff. But they
Right.
do what they can to make sure that they feel comfortable with the team. And for the most part, it's worked out pretty well. Some other communities have a little bit of a curated process and things of that nature. But to answer your question, yeah, I mean, team, community, art, um, are the founders doxed? Even I think is a big flag to kind of you're not going to get that element more times than not. But when people are comfortable enough to dox themselves, well, they truly are putting their reputation on the line, and I think there's something to be said. There's something to be said for that. That's usually a pretty good indicator. Not whether a project's gonna be successful or not, but it's a good piece to the puzzle, right? These are all pieces to the puzzle. You kind of just add them up along the way, and make your best guess. But yeah, all of those things, to be honest, play. It's like a pizza, and an extra large pizza with 16 slices,
Come
and
on, man. I'm so hungry
It's
right
making me
now.
I know, dude,
hungry,
me too,
man.
me
This
too.
guy's
I
talking
know, but
about 16 slices, man.
I know,
Damn.
but for real though, right? And you gotta bake that pizza,
I
and
know.
I know, but I could go pie, but pie is not going to help
Nah.
either, so
Uh,
but it is honestly, as cliche as it may be, it is all of the above, right? All of those elements play a factor. Now, what you can get from those elements, that takes some time and experience, right? It's one thing to poke around in the community, say GM, and get a pulse of it, and right, whatever. But no, what are you gathering from that experience? What are the what's the communication like in there between the team and the community? Are the questions being answered? Are there just dead channels in the community? Does it seem stale? Right? Is there good energy? Right? Obviously, on Mint Day, it's probably not the best time to pop into a community, right? If you want to do some real research, because of course it's going to be hype, it's going to be excited, it's going to drive FOMO, right? It's going to have people talking about floor price, all that bullshit that really doesn't mean anything, right? It's right, the layers to it beforehand, the weeks, even days sometimes beforehand, where you can get a real sense of how a community is operating. And to be honest, I like to pop into the questions channels. Right. I mean, the community is one thing, right? People are going to be shit posting and typing and talking with each other, right? Communities are communities, right? They have a common bond that way. I like to go into the questions channels, right, and see how the team is responding to questions, feedback, concerns of the community. That's really important to me, because if I get a good feel there, then it feels like they actually really care. They care about the project. They care about the longevity of the project, and those are the sorts of things that, amongst many other things, obviously, but some of the things I like to lean on the most, at least initially.
I'm sure Gutter's tired of me complaining about it, but in a recent project that I've been involved with, I had like the exact opposite experience of that.
Mhm.
And I feel like a little kid complaining about it, but like when you don't
Every
feel
day.
when you don't feel cared about, it's just like you feel abandoned, you know, and it's like it makes you, it builds up so much distrust and like in the company itself, and I don't know, it's hard to recover from that, I feel like. And then like this one specifically, like talk about communication, like they have mods in there, but their devs aren't communicating anything with their mods, so their mods are literally just like quality control, like, you know, just drop in to say, hey, hello, what's up, how's your day, good, you know, but they don't have any, they're not answering any questions because they don't know the answers, because the devs won't give them the answers. And oh man,
Yeah.
trying
No,
to offload
It's
it's
that thing.
bags, man. He's crying to buy his bags every day now, man. You got some
Nah,
high
just one
bags
product.
now.
Hey, Poopaloop might own one. He might own one. A couple of the Metaverse HQ guys own one.
yeah. Hey, look, being a part of that process, and obviously, you know, our type of community is different than a projects community, right? I mean, I think there's pretty big distinction between the two for the most part. But you know, to a point, I can sympathize with some of those struggles. Right? I mean, we've been through that too at MHQ. I mean, that's part of the growing process at times. Um, but you know, that doesn't excuse it all the time either, and especially with projects specifically in project discords, it is even more imperative, I think, to have that fast acting response from the project leaders, because as we know, you know, project shelf lives can be as quick as mint day, right? And things, right?
Yeah,
I mean, for a lot of these projects, that is their finish line, right? It's just selling out the mint, and you know, fund our bags, fund our wallets, and then we'll figure out the rest later. Yeah, and that shit
must be
pisses me off.
nice.
It pisses a lot of people. Exactly, right? It must be nice, and it's just a lot of promises that turn out to be, you know, false promises. They could be well intended promises, but they're, you know, they're unsubstantiated at the end of the day. And but again, that's the game we play sometimes, and that's the way it goes. But it doesn't always feel good, you know. So from a project standpoint, it can be a little bit different in that regard, and I think it should be different in that regard, because we are investing money into those projects and the promises that they've made. You know,
Yeah, what's the last project that has pissed you off?
pissed me off.
Yeah,
Ooh, I'm a
like
lover,
the
not a
very
founder
last one.
getter.
I know,
Say
but there's a
say
few
me
that piss
six.
me off.
Say me six.
Don't help him out.
You know what? Um,
Did you get into the Kevins or?
No, I didn't. Pissed me off.
If you say Ninjalerts, I'm about to kick you.
No. You know,
Nah, it could be as simple as like you see what the team is doing wrong, but they refuse to listen to you. Like you're saying, I have such hopes for this project, but all you guys got to do is this, and
right.
it'll turn out better. But you guys just ignoring it and just ignoring all my suggestions, ignoring everything,
Yeah, I
ignoring the
think.
community.
Well, I do think Pixelmon is kind of the low hanging fruit here. You know, I mean, I just, because it did seem to set the market back quite. I mean, that was a true liquidity suck. I mean, that was a lot of ETH burned out of the
Yeah,
ecosystem that we will never get back. You know, at least with things like, you know, mutants and apes and other similar liquidity sucks we've seen, or when some of these high value blue chips go on their super runs like Azuki or Moonbirds, and all the money is flowing into them, right? That's usually money we'll see trickle back down, right? Right, that is
yeah,
traders profiting, you know, hopefully profiting and taking that money back out and reinvesting it back into the ecosystem, the NFT world
yeah,
ecosystem. Um, Pixelmont was, at least at that point in time, a true liquidity suck, which came at a time where the market was pretty volatile, more volatile than it usually is, and kind of sent us into, you know, again, I don't like to term bear bulls, but it turned us into a lull in the market, to be honest. And so from that standpoint, you know, it left a sour taste in my mouth. Obviously, there were some Kevin memes along the way, and I'm sure people made money too. But you know, the way that whole thing played out was just unfortunate, I think, to say the least. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, go as far as say, you know, blame the team or the devs. Right? You know, it's just the way it played out sometimes, and that's the way it goes. Any sort of project where I see people getting hurt, losing gas, out of gas errors. Um, that shit sucks. You know, that is where I get angry. Now, right. No one can guarantee 100% that things are going to go right. You can have all your I's dotted and T's crossed, and shit can still hit the fan. So right there's being prepared. But then there's also how you handle it on the back end if things do go wrong, right? And refunding people, and making sure that they do right on the back end is just as important, in my opinion. So as long as things are handled that way, then I usually don't have any qualms about it. But obviously, we see there are many projects that don't handle it that way, and that's kind of leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth, especially when we're trying to open things up to a more normie crowd. If they come in and get wrecked, well, they ain't coming back, or they ain't coming back for a long time, and that hurts. That hurts us.
So how do you feel about Vayner Media or Vayner Sports? Because you spoke about gas issues, and they kind of had one of the
Yeah.
biggest gas issues as
Well,
of late.
that's yeah. They did. They also went on to refund, which was admirable. I think
They
with
refunded it. I didn't really follow up. Did they?
I yeah, they did. I think they came out the next day and said that they'd be refunding everyone. I'm almost positive they followed through with that, but I need to double check that. But I know that they intended to. Um, that one was interesting, right? You have obviously there's the Gary Fee angle to it, but it's his brother's project, right? Officially.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't really release a lot of details initially of what the pass would be about. I mean, we knew it kind of had a sports agency angle to it, and that it was attached to their agency side of their partnership as brothers. But aside from that, didn't know a lot to it. Now as it's gone on here, they've tried to attach some utility to it. I think I think at least myself, I got into it because of the
Oh, so
influencers
you got
involved.
in?
Yeah, I minted 4. I only have 1
Mm.
left. Um, and to be honest, I'm only hanging on to 1 to see if I can get a Gary tweet out of it. To be honest, at some point here, and that's really the crux of it. I don't see it as really anything to hang my hat on super long term. At least as of right now, as it stands, I'm kind of just in. If I want to trim some more fat in my portfolio, to be honest, it'll probably be one of the first ones to go. But for right now, I'm still hanging on to 1 and kind of seeing what happens with it. But look, research and alpha can be as shallow or as deep as you want it to be based on how you want to be convicted in a project, right? And to me right now, that project was just one I was looking for a little influencer push on, and whether that comes or not is purely speculative, who knows. But it definitely has the names attached to it to where it could pump a little bit, and if it does, I'll probably look to get out of it and sell into the momentum at that point.
Mm. Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't particularly get into that one, but I heard that I don't know if it was you, Chris, that brought it up that the gas spent was like almost double the
Yeah,
price of the actual
three
NFT.
X.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't great.
Yeah, 3x.
It wasn't
Yeah,
great,
that's
but yeah, that sucks, right?
yeah,
Again,
especially during these times.
yeah,
Yeah, with
it,
the
it
updated
sucks,
contracts. Yeah.
and exactly, you're right. There's a lot of ways around that now, and you know, when you do attach influencer names or more mainstream names to it, you're probably going to get people a little bit more of a normie crowd too, as well. And again, if they're losing a bunch of gas because of shit contract, then that's going to leave a bad taste in their mouth, and that's not what we want in this space, right? It's never going to be 100% ideal, but right, these projects need to take time to make sure they're holding up their end of the bargain as well.
Yeah. But we kind of have a hard out today
Yeah.
at exactly 3 p.m. my time. Do you have anything else you want to tell the audience? Do you have any projects you're looking forward to? Or are you like bullish on anything coming up, or the floor is
Um,
all yours?
yeah, I appreciate it. Just thank you guys first for the time and putting on the show for everyone. I think it's super informational. A lot of good information. You had a lot of great personalities and guests on it. Griff, Isis, JJ, Jacob, Mitch. So just thank you guys for doing what you're doing. Keep up the great work. One project I've been a little intrigued with. I don't think it's going to be a cook necessarily in the traditional sense of the word, but um, there's a project upcoming called Tripsters that I think
Tripsters.
one reservation I do have about it is it is a 3D art project. which those haven't necessarily fared extremely well, through the course of time here so far. But one thing I am really intrigued with is their community and that team. And so I there's probably gonna be some pre-reveal opportunity here if people want to get into a flip scenario.
Yeah, Chris will love this.
Yeah,
He loves shit like this.
so right. I think it's easy and it's fun and it's cute to talk about weed and shrooms and things like that, right? But and
No,
that's
just
not,
the avatars.
okay, perfect, yeah.
Yeah, he loves shit like that. Look like this.
But they
I'll
Like,
are,
post it up real quick.
yeah. See, there we go. Yeah, they're kind of cool. They're kind of fun. For me, this one's not necessarily all about the art. I'm more intrigued with the community and kind of their foundational principles that they're building this project on. They're doing a lot of stuff for war veterans and how psychedelics, really microdosing that type of stuff, can really help with some of their PTSD, symptoms and things of that nature. That I feel like is a real connection to bringing people into the space, right? And advocating for that. So, from that standpoint, when I say it's not going to be a cook in the traditional sense, again, there
No
probably will be
10x right off the bat.
there probably will be a pre-reveal, flip opportunity. But longer term, who knows how it plays out? But I do think that, you know, it's a little bit more of a niche project, niche art, niche community, niche foundational principles. But it's one that I am very intrigued in watching play out, for some of those for some of those community reasons. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But it's one I've had my eye on for sure. As an example.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll look out for tripsters. Yeah, I like it. You dropped a few gems today, man. Thank you for
Oh,
coming on. Like I never heard about tripsters. I never heard about slug pals. Like and the other phantom something. I gotta
hey,
rewatch this
yeah, hey,
to
that's
remember
again,
those.
that's all of our marketing partnerships team. Every project I named today is a project we have hosted on a Twitter Spaces in an event, right? And again, you just kind of feel a little more comfortable and get a little more information and go from there. And for someone like me that is a little thin on time, sometimes that is what I roll with. Sometimes, do a little more digging on my own, um, but for all intents and purposes, it's a great catalyst for myself, So so yeah, appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, man.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you.
There we
Thank
go. We did
you.
You should definitely consider coming back on the space again,
Absolutely.
or on these live again, and hang out with us. I would love to pick your brain more. I'm sorry we got to cut it kind of sharp
No
today.
problem.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate you. We have on Thursdays, usually we do a Twitter space as well, which we already did that this morning. But like next Thursday, if you ever see us on Twitter space, feel free to jump in, hang out. But same thing for these lives, open invite, man. If you just want to come hang out for a bit and just do what you're doing, we really appreciate it. And I would love to try to be at your space tonight. I'm going to try to make it a point to
Sure.
be there. Again, like Gutter said, like you shared a bunch of alpha. We appreciate it. There's quite a few projects I want to look into. I think I actually missed the name. My daughter came in here upset. But that last project with the microdosing for war vets,
Tripsters.
that's amazing. I love that. And I, like Gutter said, I do like quirky stuff like that. So that's something I'm definitely going to be looking at as well. So I appreciate you, Poopaloop. Thank you for
And
coming on,
memes.
man.
Real quick, do you know about memes?
I'm
Is that a good or no?
not sure. I'm not familiar with that term.
Oh, okay. It just dropped like just now. That's why I think it's
Oh, like,
minting right now.
oh, is
Memes.
it?
MEMS, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I'm not on that one. I'll have to poke into the
Yeah, I didn't
community and see
get
what's being talked about.
yeah, I tried to get in. I couldn't get in. Yeah.
Yeah.
so, so
No,
that's an
yeah.
L for me.
It's the way it goes sometimes. I know. Yeah. I got nothing for you there. My bad, dude.
All right, no doubt. Yeah,
All right.
again, thank you for being on the show, man. I know we're
Of
closing it
course.
off. Sorry, Chris. We'll keep
Oh,
just
you're
wanna
good. You're
keep
good.
going.
I appreciate you. I
Yeah.
appreciate all the viewers today that watch this or they're going to watch this later. We do this Monday through Thursdays. So come check us out next week. And hopefully we get I mean, not hopefully, but we might see a big announcement from Board Ape Yacht Club tomorrow with the land. So
Let's see.
we'll
Keep
see
your
how
eyes
it
peeled.
goes. And
Yep.
yeah, thanks again. And we'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.
All right. Sounds good.